Imagine a family so powerful that even emperors made their decisions based on the loans they expected to receive from them. Kings shaped their war plans according to this family's financial strength. The fate of governments depended on whether they would hear a yes or no from them. For more than a century, the Rothschild family wasn't just engaged in banking. They became the main artery feeding Europe's financial flow and political balance. Their story reads almost like a conspiracy thriller. An invisible family that could move money faster than armies, whisper influence inside palaces, and yet keep their own faces hidden in the shadows. And here's the surprising part. They didn't need armies or thrones to gain power. The foundation of what we call modern finance today was largely laid by them, and we are still living inside the system they built. To understand how they reached this point, we have to return to Europe at the end of the 18th century. At that time, Europe was in complete chaos. Austria, Prussia, France, Britain, and the collapsing Holy Roman Empire were constantly in competition and conflict. Monarchies were fragile, treasuries were depleted, and the system was unstable. Money was measured in gold and silver, yet armies consumed these metals faster than kings could mint them. In such an environment, accessing credit was not just an advantage. It was the only way to survive. It was in this very atmosphere that Mayer Amschel Rothschild emerged. Born in 1744 in the Jewish quarter of Frankfurt, Mayer started his life running a small coin shop with no particular privilege. But he possessed sharp intelligence and soon realized that real wealth lay not in trading coins, but in managing aristocrats' wealth and arranging credit. His relationship with the Prince of Hesse became the pivotal moment that changed his life. When the Napoleonic Wars began, Mayer had already laid the foundations of his family's empire. With a bold strategy unlike other bankers, he sent his 5 sons to London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt. This created a financial network so fast and independent that no state could match it. Think about it. A time when news traveled for days on horseback and nations could disappear within months. Mayer and his sons built a private information and money network that operated faster than governments. They could provide credit in one city while collecting debts in another, and move funds across borders with ease. More importantly, they mastered risk distribution. If Paris fell, London stood. If Vienna collapsed, Frankfurt remained strong. This was an incredibly advanced vision for that era, a kind of geopolitical diversification. As the Napoleonic Wars dragged on, the Rothschild family evolved from ordinary bankers into a formidable power center. States were desperate for money. Britain, fighting Napoleon, took on enormous debts. Armies needed salaries, supplies, and logistics, all dependent on money. But state treasuries were too slow and too unreliable. At that point, the Rothschilds became almost a savior. Their courier network could transport gold and critical information faster and more securely than any government channel. In an age when even a day's delay could collapse armies, they proved that speed was real power. Waterloo in 1815 became the most famous example of this. Despite exaggerated stories, the core truth remains. Nathan Rothschild learned of the battle's outcome before anyone else, and used this information advantage masterfully in the markets. After Waterloo, Britain grew increasingly dependent on Rothschild credit. After the wars ended, they didn't slow down. They began financing peace itself. They provided massive loans to governments, organized bond markets, and played a role in Europe's railways, canals, mines, and large infrastructure projects. Today, issuing government bonds seems normal, but in that era, the people who gave structure to this system were the Rothschilds. Their real power came not from hoarding gold, but from deciding who could access capital and under what conditions. In doing so, they even influenced the fate of governments. Naturally, rumors began to spread. Are they secretly running Europe? Are they the hidden force behind revolutions? It wasn't surprising that conspiracy theories exploded. After all, wealth and power were shifting hands. The throne was no longer the strongest seat. Bond markets were, and the family steering those markets was the Rothschilds. But what most people missed was this. Their story was not simply a tale of a wealthy family. It was the birth of the modern financial system. International networks, government bonds, risk distribution, rapid information flow. Almost everything that forms the backbone of today's global finance was shaped by this family in that era. By the mid-19th century, the family had reached the height of its power. They were like a neural network spread across Europe. From Britain to Austria, from France to the Vatican, they financed numerous governments. After revolutions, they were called upon to restore economies and rescue states on the verge of collapse. Back then, central banks as we know them today didn't exist. In many ways, the Rothschilds acted as the de facto central bank for several countries. Whether a bond issuance would succeed often depended on their approval. Their investments weren't limited to states. They poured huge capital into railways, mines, infrastructure, and crucial sectors of the Industrial Revolution. If capital is the lifeblood of a nation, the Rothschilds were among the select few who directed that flow. But over time, even their power had limits. New banking dynasties, like Barings and Warburg, rose. Governments created their own central banks. As the system expanded and became institutionalized, it became impossible for a single family to control everything. In the 20th century, wars, revolutions, and the Holocaust dealt them heavy blows. Many of their European assets were confiscated, and they never fully recovered what they had lost. After the war, the world had changed. America rose, the dollar became dominant, and the scale of global finance grew massively. Now it was giant corporations and central banks that ran the game. Yet here is the paradox. While the family's direct power diminished, the system they built continued to strengthen. Today's government bonds, international debt structures, and financial information networks are still modernized versions of the foundation they laid. As time went on, conspiracy theories around the Rothschild name multiplied. People loved to believe in invisible forces controlling the world. But the truth was more straightforward. They no longer needed to run the system. The system they built functioned on its own. Today, the family still exists, and some members lead major financial institutions. But they are no longer an empire. Compared to giants like BlackRock, their power is limited. Still, in every debt crisis, every interest rate decision, and every economic shock, echoes of the system they created can still be felt. Because they demonstrated something crucial. Real power lies not in holding money, but in writing the rules of money. If you seek financial freedom, you must understand the system you live in. Whether you were a king centuries ago or someone struggling with credit card debt today, the mechanism remains the same. The lender wins, the borrower loses. History never repeats itself exactly, but its rhythm stays the same. And the legacy of the Rothschilds exists within that rhythm, a reminder that real wealth is not money itself, but the power to define its rules. And if this story offered you a new perspective, don't forget to subscribe, because history always teaches, if we know where to look.